For like the last month and a half, we've been waiting for a running back to emerge off the waiver wire. Last week, Amir Abdullah came in the form. This week, Isaac Arando. Right now, after sounding the alert last week, and again earlier this week, Braelon Allen enters the chat and things are looking worse with Breece Hall. He is doubtful going into week 14. Which means if Braelon Allen's still there on waivers, you better snatch him up right now. Even if you can't start him, just so that Breece Hall manager can't even use him. We're going to deep dive him again today. Breece Hall, the situation, Isaiah Davis. But before we do, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're doing these deep dives every day, all day long. When something like this happens, when news breaks, we do a deep dive. Someone jumps the depth chart, we do a deep dive. Falls down the depth chart, we do a deep dive. See whether or not you need them for fantasy football by looking at the advanced analytics. You may not need them, you may need them. This is going to help you make your decision. Click that subscribe button. Stop missing out. Ric Flair's watching. You do not want to disappoint Ric Flair. Again, Breece Hall is doubtful. Adam Schefter, true words. Maybe true words, maybe not. On Reddit, getting an MRI on the knee. Pretty much what I'm thinking right now. On that knee. And that's not looking good. That's not looking good. That does not sound good. Last week I said Breece Hall came out of the game. Then came back in. He was having a knee issue. Going into week 13, the reason why we sounded alarm on Braelon Allen was because Breece Hall was having a knee issue. Now things are creeping up. We're in week 14. Fantasy playoffs. He should have been picked up last week and just hoarded. And then we sounded the red alarm again on Sunday because he came out and came back in due to the knee issue. And we didn't know if something would bubble up because things would bubble up through the week on some of these players when they're dealing with an injury. Braelon Allen, you may not like the stats right now because he's playing behind Breece Hall. He's playing behind Breece Hall. He'll have some up games, down games, but he's getting volume. He's getting opportunity. And now he's the next man up. He's doubtful. Breece Hall has a 25% chance of playing this week due to the odds. Braelon Allen's the next guy up. And remember, this guy broke out at Wisconsin at 17 years old. 1,268 yards, 12 touchdowns. Then next year, we follow it up again. 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns. 2023, we get the ankle injury. It slows him down a little bit. He even tries to play through it a little bit. And a lot of people detract that tape from his final season at Wisconsin because of the ankle issue. He doesn't compete in the combine. He falls in the draft. But last year, 49 missed tackles forced, 3.77 yards after contact per attempt. We got size. The year prior, 51 missed tackles forced. That freshman year, 4.48 yards after contact per attempt at 17 years old. 45 missed tackles, 31 carries at 10-plus yards. This dude's productive. You all ran to the waiver wire this week to pick up Isaac Arando, didn't you? Everybody did. Everybody was talking that up. Well, Isaac Arando was on Wisconsin, and Braelon Allen said, hey, not my house. You got to go to Louisville if you want to play. This is my team. This is my team now. You got to go. That is what happened here. Braelon Allen said, hey, this is my house now, buddy. I'm going to be the productive guy. I am the running back. That's what happened here at Wisconsin. This type of running back you're looking at, 235 pounds, 6'1". Matter of fact, we were waiting for him to come out of draft as a freshman. And that's a good look. He fell on draft to the 4th round, 4.34 to the New York Jets. Wasn't very enticing for fantasy football because of Breece Hall. However, we did some things on the field early. Very early as training camp. He was lighting things up. Play in, play out, day in, day out. They were calling these guys the killer bees, Breece and Braelon. They were crushing it. The Jets media was going elated over him, ecstatic, because Braelon Allen was looking good. Highlight after highlight after highlight. I had 6 minutes of highlights on Braelon Allen training camp footage. That's in there. I had some on Breece Hall too. He was getting it done. He was looking good. He was smoking dudes in training camp. Braelon Allen looked good in the start of the season, off and on throughout the rest of the season, as this team was trying to make a run for the playoffs. It ain't happening. They were trying to get it. 19.6 PPR fantasy points against the Titans in week 2, 9.8 the week after that. We're getting work in the passing game too. Breece Hall's the man. He's the man. He ain't going to give up that job easily. 4.2 yards per carry, 164 rushing attempts. Braelon Allen, a good meat shield. One of the best meat shields in all of football. 26% share of the rushing attempts out of the backfield. Isaiah Davis is in this backfield as well, and he's no slouch either. He fell to the Jets at a discount. Braelon Allen, though, when you look at the routes ran by week, 12 in week 2, 13 in week 4, 11 last week. He gets work in the passing game. He's getting targeted at decent clips here for a 1B backup running back. 4, 3, 2, 2, 2. Multiple games where he's getting 2 or more targets. Remember, he's sharing the workload out of that, and he's getting snap shares of around 25 to 30% in most games. Rarely any games, maybe like a handful of them, where it's like 20% or below, but only 1 in double-digit percent and only like 3 games of under 10 snaps. So he's getting work on the field. They want to use him. He earned this role in training camp. He looked good. Multiple games here, yards after contact per attempt looking good, especially those games where he was getting a lot of volume. We have 4.7, 3.7, and a 3.3. That being said, he's not always going to get the volume due to Breece Hall. We want to see what he looks like with a lot more volume. Also, this Jets team, very fascinating in the back end of the season. We try to get Devontae Adams. We try to make a push to the playoffs. We try to buy our way in. It ain't happening. But Isaiah Davis enters the chat because he's going to be getting more workload as well. I think he needs a You Need video so you learn more about him. Not a lot of people know much about him. From South Dakota State, big-time producer, 82nd college dominator rating. So he owned a large market share of South Dakota's offensive production. That being said, he can get it done. 218 pounds. Not really up there with Braelon Allen, but not that far off. He's not a bad running back prospect. He's a good prospect. He was on the field last week. He did okay in fantasy production. He hasn't got many snaps this year, like around 20 on the season, if I do my math fast enough, and 9 routes ran on the season, so he ain't going to be used much in the passing game. Braelon Allen will get work in the passing game. They've already demonstrated they want to use him in the passing game. That's why you like Braelon Allen. His work in the passing game is not going to be reduced to 0 due to he can't do it, because he can do it. Even though at Wisconsin, they didn't use him much in the passing game until that final year due to coaching changes. I bet a lot of people you watch on Fantasy Football YouTube do not know that, but they don't watch college ball like me in high school recruiting. That being said, Isaiah Davis got work last week, week 13, and that was another red flag on Breece Hall, because he's usually not getting work. He got work there, and now we're going up against Miami on the road. He should be getting some touches, and it could be 8 to 10 while Braelon Allen gets the rest or something like that, and that's enough to be productive in fantasy football. So if I'm in a deeper league, if I'm in a 16-team league and I'm looking for a running back, maybe he's got a good prospect profile. Odds are stacked against it, but maybe. And you're looking at this backfield, it's estimated right now. Breece Hall's probably out, and he could be out for the rest of the season. That could be happening. So even if I don't need Braelon Allen or Isaiah Davis, the guy who has Breece Hall in your league does, and you may want to pick him up so he can't have him, so you can have him stashed. I'm not even going to say Braelon Allen goes off this year. I'm not making any of those calls. I never do in these videos, really. I just give you the situation, let you make your own choice. But you're looking at this backfield, and the Jets like to stack talent at the running back position. They've been bit before with Breece Hall injuries, and they've been stacking talent. Braelon Allen, Isaiah Davis, they did have Izzy, who's with the 49ers now. Zonovan Knight's on the practice squad. If you don't know much about him, very productive running back out of college and can catch the ball in the backfield. Very interesting prospect. Would not be surprised if Bam Knight shows up and does something here. We're looking at the schedule here. And look at this. We got the Dolphins this week, who are averaging 23.3 fantasy points per game to running backs. Then we got the Jaguars, second most in the league when it comes to allowing fantasy points per game to running backs. Bills in the fantasy championships in most leagues, third most. You got the Rams in there, not too far off. That being said, you got some interesting matchups here that could go either way for you. That could really just go boom for you in any matchup. So even if you can't play Braelon Allen today, you might be able to tomorrow. And some of these running backs are going to break down. They've been holding up all season long. We've been waiting since Halloween, or if not longer, for a running back to emerge. These running backs have been holding up. And like I said, like a week or so ago, we may see some of these running backs start falling off like flies because it has to go back to average. We've been below average when it comes to injuries to running backs. That being said, we might see more. Make sure you get your running back stashed. Like I said last week in the Braelon Allen video, I said this last week, that this was the red flag, the alarm saying get your stashes in order, your handcuffs in order when we get into the fantasy playoffs. Look at what people did with Isaac Rondo. Just look at that. They're going to do the same thing with Braelon Allen right now. And if your starter goes down, someone's going to try and snipe you. So make sure you got the insurance policy and make sure you got a handcuff or two. That last wide receiver on the roster more than likely is not going to win your league. Maybe game to game, he can probably win you a game here over these next 4 or 5. Maybe that could happen. But literally not a league winner when it comes to having a run of 3 big weeks, scoring high for you, winning your league. You're good at starting him. You feel confident with it. And you can't stash him right now. You don't have the roster spot. But I can argue that most people need to be looking at Braelon Allen at least as a guy on the back end of your roster as a defensive move, even if he sucks. That way the Breece Hall manager who's looking to get into the playoffs can't have him. Can't have him. And then if you can start him, you can start him. If you can't, you can't. It's a little bit ambiguous. It is Braelon Allen, so he may not hit for you. He may not hit for you. That might be the calls. I'm not here to cause hits and misses and all that stuff. I'm here to say, hey, look what's happening here. This is what's going on. Look what I found. Look what I found here. Maybe you should do this. Things are trending this way with these numbers. What do you want to do with this? Bounce your ideas off me. But again, you want to be defensive this time of year with some of your roster spots, especially as the news unfolds. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.